The hashtag for the protesters today changed. It changed from hashtag #EndSARS to hashtag #EndSWAT. Some of them are saying they find it very embarrassing that the government will, under 48 hours, say they disbanded the SARS and now they are putting up a SWAT. How do you find this, Mr. Falana, in the perspective of the fact that a lot of people think what is happening or playing out on the minds of the protesters may be beyond the issue of police brutality?
Well, I think Nigerians owe the youths a lot of gratitude for the peaceful manner in which they have carried out the protest, and also for waking all of us up to our responsibilities. For me, it is not actually the name that matters. And I think what the youths are saying is that beyond the naming or renaming, they want to see concrete steps taken to show that it is not going to be business as usual in policing in Nigeria. And as far as I'm concerned, so far we are merely scratching the surface of the problem. There has been no indication that the government is prepared yet to respect the rights of the Nigerian people embodied in the Constitution and other statutes, human rights statutes. And in this particular instance, I'm not talking of the government in Abuja alone. I'm not talking of the federal government. I'm also talking of state governments that have greater responsibility towards policing the states, the respective states, towards providing security for everybody living in Nigeria. It's supposed to be a joint responsibility of the federal government and state governments to police the country. But because this has not been the case, police powers in Nigeria have been hijacked by the presidency since 1999. That has to change. The laws that have been made to respect the rights of the Nigerian people, embodied in the Constitution and other laws, will have to be respected now. We have to actualize the provisions of those laws in a way that there shall be no form of police brutality, torture, extortion of money from citizens, and so on and so forth. The laws are there, but they are all observed in their breach, and that is what has to change. The conditions of service of police personnel will have to change. The training will have to change. And then you cannot have policemen and women in 2020 Nigeria living in dehumanized military, barracks. All that has to change if you want to have proper policing in the society. Well, Seun, I would like to say this before we address the challenge of the new outfit. We are really not addressing the concrete problems. The training of the police is colonial, completely primitive. A man joins the police force, he goes to the police college. A woman goes to the police college, dehumanized. A woman cannot make her hair. She has to cut her hair. A man has to shave his hair to the skull. Now, the feeding is bad. They have no idea of human rights, human relations. They are trained like colonial policemen to brutalize the society. And that is what is going on. So, for those who are in mobile unit, we used to call them kill and go. in the Second Republic under IGP Adeosi. That has transformed into SARS. Now, what is the training? In the college, they are tear gassed in rooms without windows. And for them, that is the way to train them. They are beaten, torture. The feeding is bad. So when the man comes out of the college, or the woman, you want to brutalize a society that dehumanizes you in the college. And from what Mr. Uwa is saying, his salary is poor. And the challenges are enormous. So the station is not funded. Police stations are not funded in Nigeria. So daily, to run the stations, the DPOs depend on extortion of money from the public, from suspects. Sometimes some stations, some police stations are not built by the government, but by members of the community, including hardened criminals. And when a criminal has built a police station and maintains the police station, how do you arrest him if he commits offenses in the neighborhood? So we have to retrain all policemen and women in Nigeria. They have to be told, they have to be taught about human rights. Two, you have to improve their wages. Their living conditions are terrible. Those who are living in the midst of, with the people will have to be made to appreciate that they are not above, they cannot live above the people. They must also relate to the people and ensure that they respect their neighbors. You then go from there. And again, the young people are not talking about SWAT or SARS alone. They are talking of a new policing system for the country. Mr. Uwa has just mentioned the Nigerian Police Council, set up by the Constitution. We do not have a state police. The Constitution is not talking about community policing, but about the Nigerian police. And that police power shall be exercised by the Nigerian Police Council, made up of the President, Inspector General of Police, Chairman Police Council, and the 36 state governors. They shall meet regularly to discuss security in the country, because the Constitution says, Section 14, the security and welfare of the people shall be the primary purpose of government. And I'm talking of, the Constitution says the President cannot appoint or remove an Inspector General of Police without consulting with members of the Nigerian Police Council. But that body does not meet. The other one, apart from the constitutional provision, we must look at other laws. There is the Nigerian National Human Rights Commission Act of 2010. What does it say about the police? All violations of human rights in Nigeria shall be investigated by that body. But the governing council of that body has not been inaugurated since 2015. That can be done today. Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 has provided adequate provision for how policemen and women should respect the rights of suspects in police stations. These rights are not being respected right now. People are being arrested in lieu of criminal suspects. That has been prohibited. There shall be no torture. In fact, Anti-Torture Act of 2017 has criminalized any form of torture, mental, psychological, physical. You have the Police Trust Fund Act of 2019 that has provided that 0.5% of money in the Federation account shall be deployed towards funding the police, their training, their accommodation, and buying equipment, so that they won't be buying their own uniforms on their own. Then you have the Nigerian police.
So, Mr. Falana, where have all these been? That's going to be a big question, isn't it? There are years where corruption in the police have been brought to the fore.
Shown the government is not complying with these laws. And that is the problem we are facing in the country. We make laws, the laws are ignored by the government to the detriment of law and order in the society. This is why we're in a mess. So you are not going to address this problem by merely changing or rechristening the SARS and I'll call it SWAT. No, you must go to the root cause of the crisis of policing in Nigeria. And number one, I would like to call on the government to stop allowing armed thugs or hoodlums to attack protesters who have conducted themselves peacefully and maturely and patriotically. If everybody has recognized that these young men and women have played positive roles in drawing the attention of the government and the authorities to the crisis in policing in Nigeria, they should not be attacked by anybody. In fact, the law says that protesters shall be protected by the police. Secondly, the laws like the Vagrancy Act, law of wandering, no loitering, that law was abolished in 1989. We don't need, like Mr. Uwa is saying, you don't need anything gradual. Today, the IG can say there shall be no arrest of any Nigerian for loitering or wandering. Thirdly, the president has a duty today to reconstitute the National Human Rights Commission. 3, the Accountant General of the Federation has a duty tomorrow to open an account that will warehouse the money that has been earmarked under the Police Trust Fund to fund the police. Anti-Torture Act, the Attorney General of the Federation is required by Section 11 of that law to bring out regulations to stop torture of suspects in Nigeria. Again, you don't need to wait to do that. I can go on and on and on. So, that my advice to the president is to get all the relevant agencies of the government to carry out their statutory duties. Secondly, the police must protect the protesters. Thirdly, the government must engage in dialogue with the leaders of the protesting group. After all, the government is negotiating with terrorists and kidnappers. So why don't you negotiate with patriots like the young men and women that are protesting all over the country? The last one, there has to be a full-fledged inquiry. I will support a judicial commission of inquiry, not a judicial commission of inquiry that will sit in camera in 6 like the Ayo Salami Judicial Commission of Inquiry. This one will sit in the open like a computer panel that will investigate the atrocities. One that has not been mentioned is the extrajudicial killing of suspects by SARS or some of the agents that are asked to investigate crimes and prosecute people. And finally, I'm calling on state attorneys general, because 98% of criminal cases in Nigeria, criminal offenses, are state offenses. Let our attorneys general take over the prosecution of cases in Nigeria. More so that the Police Act 2020 has prohibited lay policemen and women from prosecuting in our court. So, state government will have to engage lawyers to take over the prosecution of cases in all our courts. If the government can put all this in place, and this can be done in the next 3 days, the young men and women can now be persuaded, they will be persuaded to leave the street. So what they are saying, I've been talking to some of them on behalf of the Alliance on Surviving COVID-19 and Beyond, ASCA. They are saying, we do not trust the government. If we leave the street, nothing will happen. So let the government quickly roll out the reform, actualize the promises, so that the young men and women can say, now we are convinced that government is serious, government is standing, to end police brutality in Nigeria. Thank you very much.